There's always no food in this house.
Come here.
Who's there? Did you break in? God, this better be worth it. I'm hungry. Hey, wait. Where are you?
Right in front of you, dumbass.
Spider-Man?
Yes, you must watch my trailer.
I don't want to watch your trailer. Why would I do that?
Because if you watch it, I'll make out with you.
Oh, I see you, Spider-Man. I will watch your trailer.
Recording, right? Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, friends, and welcome to the corner.
Now, normally I'm not over here. This is a weird, outlook into another side of my room. But I wanted to use these bad boys, so we're gonna use them. And actually, we should probably clear them off. I think that's good enough. I really don't want to move all those pins. That would be annoying. So Spider-Man Brand New Day comes out in 4 months, but the trailer just released, and it has me scratching my head. I had a lot of questions. So why don't we present the variables? Bang. Peter. What do we know about Peter? Now, as I'm editing this, I realized that you can't read the sticky notes. So all of that was entirely a waste of time. So that makes me feel great. Everyone forgets him, basically, at the end of No Way Home. He had the knowledge of his identity erased from every single person's mind, including MJ and Ned. Now, MJ and Ned, they're kicking it around at MIT, I believe. I'm sorry to Ned. I called him chopped in my trailer reaction. I got cooked in the YouTube comments for that one. Also hanging around MIT, we got Paul, who we believe to be Paul, played by Emin Esfandi, also known as Ezra Bridger in the Ahsoka show. He's probably Paul. Let's be so for real with ourselves. Also in this movie is Punisher, Frank Castle himself. Why is he there? I don't know, but that'll be interesting because he has his own kind of special. We think June? It hasn't been confirmed, but we think June. Also in this movie, and the one thing that the internet seems to be losing their minds over, Sadie Sink. Who is she playing? I think it's pretty obvious, but we'll get to that later. Also, we got Tombstone, presumed to be the main villain of this movie. I don't really see how any of the other villains that have been revealed could be a main villain. Although one might argue that the DODC, and specifically Bill, played by Tremel Tillman, could be that main villain role, and Tombstone's just like a minor-esque role. Now, we last saw the Department of Damage Control in Wonder Man, where they were trying to basically control all mutants because they were scared of them. Or they didn't say mutants. You could tell it was mutants. They're pretty racist. Villains we got Scorpion, played by Michael Mando, set up in the post-credit scene of Homecoming, and then never heard about for several years. He's back. A couple other villains, Boomerang, Tarantula, The Hand. They're revealed to be in this movie. I don't think they're going to play much of a role. Spoiler alert. We also got a casting announcement for Liza Colon-Zayas. And then we got a couple rumored characters, Daredevil and Yelena. Both said to be in this movie, but who knows. Other thing we know about this movie. Bang, organic webbing. It's gonna play some role. So, without further ado, I guess let's get into the trailer, starting with my reaction to it. I'll include that in the video, why not? Oh my god, that suit looks so good!
Forget about me.
Why Ned look so chopped though?
Because I'm not just Peter Parker.
Oh my god. Oh! Yes! Give it to me!
The hell, Frank? You just hit me with
Just
a
get
bat.
hit with a
Would you
fucking
look
car!
Even if it
Not
breaks Peter
Paul!
Parker.
No! Oh. Of course I had to get fucking Tom Holland shirtless. Jesus Christ.
Excuse me, Dr. Banner. I need your help.
What did you say your name?
That makes sense for a reason that Banner's introduced. Because he's someone that... Keith David? Who is Keith David playing? Oh, there's Jean. There's Jean.
Out of my way.
Yes! Oh, Mando, that suit looks great. Let them cook! Holy fuck. Oh my god, sticky notes flying everywhere. This is terrible. I really love this trailer because it gives you a taste of what the film is about without disclosing any of the big unanswered questions. But if anyone is gonna crack the code on Spider-Man Brand New Day, count me in. I got this. We start the trailer off on this beautiful shot, which is very reminiscent of the one from Across the Spider-Verse that I love, and the interesting thing about that scene is that it focuses heavily on the romantic feelings that Miles has for Gwen, which makes it a nice parallel showing how truly alone Peter is at this time in his life. We then see him, depressed as hell, watching Instagram reels of Ned and MJ like a creep before he takes off to go fight another battle. Now, I actually think this scene is what starts off the movie, because a lot of the Spider-Man films start with this kind of big, sweeping action sequence. Chasm 2 is what's in my head right now, and it also does a great job at establishing where Peter is mentally in this film. Also, Ned here says, first day of MIT, and honestly, it could be an old video, but I think it's much more likely to happen right after No Way Home, which would place it at the start of the movie. Later on in the trailer, we get a few bits and pieces of the big armored vehicle chase sequence, and in this, Peter gets blown up by a tank and then immediately hit by a van driven by Punisher, who in the trailer appears to be working for the same people driving the tank, but I actually don't think this is the case. I think it makes way more sense for these two to be chasing the same vehicle, given both of them have heroic intentions, but Peter really does disapprove of Frank's violent tendencies, so he'd be going after him. Then Peter goes to MJ's housewarming party at MIT, again, like a creep, and we can see on the table some alcohol branded Green Jackal. Now, whether this is an Easter egg or a hint to a future character, I don't know. Me personally, I think seeing the Clone Saga on the big screen would hit like crack, so I'm holding out hope. In this scene, MJ is also flirting with who we believe to be Paul, and then things get interesting. We see Peter pass out, wake up in his apartment covered in webs, fall out the window, and then immediately catch himself with organic webbing, which signals to me that Peter is most likely going through DNA mutations brought on by stress, similar to the other storyline, although without all the Morlun and spider deity bullshit that comes along with that. This is confirmed when Peter meets with his new professor at Empire State University and former colleague Bruce Banner, who I forgot to make a sticky note for, hang on. Banner runs this high-tech mutant power scanner that essentially reads straight from the powers and abilities section off of the Marvel Wiki. And given the very obvious indication of his inhibitor device from She-Hulk, I believe somehow it will get broken, and he will return to the full version of the Hulk once again. Either that, or I'm delusional because of the disservice that the MCU has done to this character. Then we get this shot of water falling, and then Peter freaking out, which could be one of two things. Either his spider sense going haywire because of the mutations, or it could possibly be Sadie Sink's character in his mind, although I think it's much more likely for it to be the mutations from the organic webbing. But speaking of Sadie Sink, we see her in a prison inside of the DODC building before a bomb goes off outside. And what's that? That's the fucking tank from earlier that Punisher was following. And later we see Spidey rescuing an old lady from it, which means that she was most likely mind controlled, which is backed up by the fact that we see some psionic ability transfer from person to person and back to presumably herself. So who is Sadie Sink's character? I think it's pretty obviously fucking Jean Grey. Oh my god. I've heard theories of Shothra, Typhoid Mary, Adriana Soria, Screwball, fucking Screwball. But we already know her character is coming back from Secret Wars. So I don't understand where the gap of logic is that would assume that Screwball would be coming back for Secret Wars. In this one scene specifically, in which Peter is talking to Bill, he says, quote, "We are faced with a danger that we can't control, one we can't even see. But I'm on to you." After listening to it countless times, I've realized that the word danger is dubbed in post. Listen to this.
We are faced with a danger that we can't control.
And what word could possibly go there? Well, I'm thinking mutant. That's right. We are faced with a mutant that we can't control, one we possibly can't even see. That would spoil Sadie Sink's character as Jean Grey. Am I cooking, or am I cooking? Mic drop. Alright. Yay, we got that fixed. Yay. This next portion of Jean shows her in Peter's apartment, which we know because of the scene earlier of it covered in webs. Now I know you're all asking, why Jean Grey? Why in a Spider-Man movie? Sure, they've done strange things before. They introduced Hawkeye during Thor. They introduced, Black Panther during Civil War. But why Jean Grey in this movie? Boom! Memory! Memory! That's right, say it with me now. The memory of MJ and Ned, of their beloved friend Peter, is gone. You know who's the one person who can reverse that? Fucking Jean Grey. Also during this section, there is something very interesting that I skipped over, which is the unmistakable voice of one Keith David, who says, quote, "Spiders have 3 life cycles. When between cycles, it can leave the spider vulnerable to threats." These lines seem to echo back to the other storyline from the comics that this film is kind of based on, but it also makes me question, who the fuck is Keith David playing? Theory number 1, the Jackal. What he says here is very scientific. The Jackal is a scientist. He knows all about mutations, DNA, and he's obsessed with Peter. Wait. Organic webbing. Maybe he was the one who caused that. Unfortunately, I have a big problem with this theory, which is why would there be an Easter egg of the Jackal in the trailer if he was actually a surprise character? That would ruin the surprise. Which leads me to theory number 2. Kurt Connors the Lizard, who could very easily be another one of Peter's professors at ESU. But I do also have another big problem with this, which is they've already done Lizard in Chasm, and they don't seem to like to repeat villains. I know they set up Venom, but he's Venom. Could it possibly be Kurt Connors without the Lizard? Maybe, but that would be kind of stupid. But to my dismay, the more I think about it, the more I actually believe that he's not playing a character at all. Listen to it again and tell me it doesn't sound like a nature documentary that's shown in like one of Peter's classes. That would give us a better hint as to what's going on with him in his mutations.
When between cycles, it can leave the spider vulnerable to threats.
Now let's see, what haven't we covered? Frank hunting Peter we covered. I don't think he's actually hunting Peter. MJ, Ned, Paul, I believe all go to MIT and Peter's trying to get them back because of memory. But this whole section down here with villains and Liza Colon-Zayas, who I'm just getting rid of because, I don't know how to open that thread. It's clear that many of these minor villains will be in some kind of montage showcasing Peter fighting villains in the 4 years between No Way Home and Brand New Day, but what about Scorpion? What about Tombstone, who wasn't even in the trailer? Well, maybe there's a good reason for that. Maybe Tombstone's inclusion is a spoiler for an upcoming show, Daredevil Born Again Season 2. We already know that in this season, Fisk will be mayor, and there's a shot earlier in the trailer of Peter receiving the key to the city. Would Wilson Fisk do that? Maybe Tombstone is there, trying to fill the power vacuum that was left, once Fisk is inevitably outed. I have a phenomenal idea for Scorpion, but we'll get to that later because I'm actually going to wrap up this video with my summary of exactly what I think will happen in Spider-Man Brand New Day. After the events of No Way Home, Peter Parker is completely alone. No friends, no family, no identity, just Spider-Man. The film opens with him already in a downward spiral, obsessively watching MJ and Ned's new life at MIT, while throwing himself into non-stop crime fighting to cope, against guys like Boomerang and Tarantula, but something is wrong. Spidey gets word of a runaway armored DODC vehicle moving through the streets of New York, but Punisher arrives, distracting Peter and allowing the vehicle to blow up the DODC and for Jean to escape. Peter helps her hide out in his apartment because he realizes she might be the key to unlocking MJ and Ned's memories of him, but she opens his mind to past trauma and then leaves. Peter decides to go to MJ's house party, but after seeing her in a relationship with another man, he passes out and wakes up in his room covered in webs, discovering he now has organic webbing. Seeking answers, he turns to Bruce Banner at ESU, who discovers his DNA is mutating from stress. Tombstone then uses the Hand to break Scorpion out of prison in order to position himself as the new mayor, with Spider-Man accidentally losing control and killing him as a result of his mutations. Peter is horrified at what he's becoming. This isn't just Spider-Man anymore, this is something unstable, something dangerous. Word spreads fast and Tombstone uses it to his advantage. He positions Spider-Man as a threat, tightening his grip on New York while the city turns against its own protector. As the mutations continue, Peter grows 6 arms. He tries to track down Jean and brings her to Banner at ESU, but she lashes out and breaks his inhibitor, causing Hulk to finally return and rampage through the streets. With the city in chaos, Tombstone uses the Hand and his remaining forces to fully take control, consolidating power while heroes are distracted. In his eyes, this is proof that costumed heroes are the problem. The DODC converges on Spidey, but the Punisher saves him, and Peter manages to talk down the Hulk, who is the only person to remember him. Peter then realizes it's better for MJ not to remember him at all, causing a rebirth that allows him to defeat Tombstone. In the post-credit scene, we see the symbiote moving around, ready for Peter to find it. Anyways, those are my predictions. I hope you enjoyed. I'm gonna come back once the film actually releases and see how well I actually did. Probably pretty poorly, but with all goodbye.